On today's episode, China is heading back to the moon with an unprecedented plan. Starship is prepped for flight test number 3. New Glenn goes vertical for the first time, and Jeff Bezos is about to make the biggest acquisition in space industry history by buying the United Launch Alliance. The China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation has released an aggressive new blueprint for space operations in 2026 and beyond. The country is now targeting a record-breaking 100 orbital launches this year, including 2 critical lunar missions and 2 brand new rocket designs that will reshape their space capabilities. The Chinese government space program is targeting 70 launches that will deploy more than 290 spacecraft into orbit, while the remaining 30 will come from China's rapidly growing commercial rocket industry. This represents a steep increase over the country's previous launch record set in 2023 with 67 orbital flights, 50 government and 17 commercial. This information comes from China's Blue Book, a comprehensive document released on February 26 containing an overview of the country's planned activities in outer space for the coming years. Of course, the headline here is China's next play on the lunar surface. We've witnessed numerous failed or partially successful moon landing attempts over the past year, our now sideways friend Odysseus being just the latest example. But China is set to take their shot at a lunar landing in May 2026. While many have faltered on the moon recently, China has been absolutely dominating lunar exploration. Their Chang'e 4 mission completed the first robotic exploration of the moon's far side. Then Chang'e 5 achieved a sample return from the near side, bringing back the first moon rocks since the 1970s. Now Chang'e 6 will bring it all together with something never done before, a sample return from the far side of the moon. Chang'e 6 will target a landing in the southern portion of the moon's Apollo crater, located within the South Pole Aitken Basin, a gigantic ancient impact crater. The lander will attempt to collect 2,000 grams of material both scooped from the surface and collected by drilling. This is a massive deal because scientists believe material from beneath the moon's crust is accessible in the Spa Basin. Analysis of such material could provide groundbreaking new insights into the history of the moon and, by extension, Earth and the wider solar system. While we're talking about a Chinese moon takeover, they won't be doing this alone. Chang'e 6 is actually carrying a wide range of international payloads, and the sample material will be shared around the world. France is providing the detection of outgassing radon instrument, which will detect radon gas escaping from the lunar crust. Sweden will contribute the negative ions at the lunar surface payload. An Italian passive laser retroreflector will also be on board, and the IceCube Q CubeSat for Pakistan is part of the mission as well. Samples collected by Chang'e 6 will initially be available to Chinese scientists and institutions before being open to research proposals internationally, a significant gesture of scientific collaboration. Ahead of Chang'e 6, China will deploy a new lunar relay satellite into high orbit around the moon. Queqiao 2 is set to launch in March and will offer crucial communication support for Chang'e 6. Since the far side of the moon is obviously never visible from Earth, we can't send radio transmissions directly point to point. The new satellite will orbit beyond the moon and act as a relay station, bouncing signals between Earth and the lander. Queqiao 2 will then continue supporting the upcoming Chang'e 7 mission in 2026 and Chang'e 8 in 2028. China's Blue Book also reminds us that a crewed lunar landing remains a top priority for the nation, with the target still set to put Chinese taikonauts on the moon before 2030. We also have confirmation on 2 new Chinese launch vehicles that will debut in 2026. The Long March 12 is an incredibly secretive new project developed by the Shanghai Academy of Spaceflight Technology. What we do know is that this will be China's widest rocket to date with a diameter of 3.8 meters, wider than the 3.35-meter diameter of most Chinese rockets. Long March 12 will be a 2-stage rocket more than 60 meters tall, powered by 6 liquid kerosene engines. We're looking at something comparable in size and design to the SpaceX Falcon 9, just with somewhat less power and no reusable capability, at least not yet. The second new rocket from China is the Long March 6C, which is essentially a Long March 6A with the solid fuel side boosters removed, a simpler, more streamlined design. A truck full of explosives has been spotted driving into the SpaceX Starbase launch site, which is a positive sign that Starship Flight Number 3 is imminent. Of course, the explosives in question are specifically for use in Starship's flight termination system. That's the mechanism that makes the rocket blow up when things don't go as planned. We've seen the FTS used on both Starship flights so far, and hopefully that trend does not continue. But this is a strong indication that we'll see the next pairing of ship and booster ready for launch within the next 2 weeks, maybe 3 at the most. We know SpaceX has big plans for this year that will dramatically ramp up launch frequency at Starbase. At a press conference last week, FAA Administrator Calvin Coleman revealed that SpaceX is pushing for at least 9 launches from Starbase, Texas in 2026, calling the plan a pretty aggressive launch schedule this year. Coleman went on to confirm that, in spite of what you might hear in the news, the FAA is in full support of SpaceX and Starship, saying, "We've been talking to SpaceX constantly, around the clock, coming together and trying to figure out how we do this. We are invested with the company, and so we will work with them to get them back going as soon as they can." Blue Origin's New Glenn orbital rocket has gone vertical at Launch Complex 36 for the very first time, and the company has confirmed that this is the real deal. The rocket you're looking at right now will be going to space later this year, or at least attempting to. Blue Origin says the first New Glenn will be put through its paces in the coming weeks and months with several demonstrations of cryogenic fluid loading, pressure control, and the vehicle's venting systems. The only thing New Glenn is still missing would be its 7B4 engines. The company says the first flight engines are being hot-fired at their testing sites in Alabama and Texas before shipping out to Cape Canaveral. Blue Origin has also revealed that several New Glenn vehicles are currently in production that will serve a range of clients, from NASA to Telesat, Amazon's own Project Kuiper satellite internet constellation, and New Glenn is also being certified by Space Force for national security missions. We know New Glenn is slated for at least 1 mission this year. NASA's twin spacecraft Escapade Mars mission is targeting a launch date no earlier than August 2026. Blue Origin has also made the ambitious claim that whenever the first flight of New Glenn does happen, they will be attempting a booster return and landing on an autonomous barge in the ocean. So it should make for a spectacular show regardless of the outcome. Continuing with Blue Origin news, we have our strongest indication yet that the Jeff Bezos-owned aerospace company will be acquiring the United Launch Alliance from Lockheed Martin and Boeing. The massive business deal would essentially catapult Blue Origin from the back of the pack to the forefront of space exploration overnight. The biggest asset transfer from ULA would obviously be their brand new Vulcan Centaur rocket, an extremely versatile heavy-lift vehicle with 1 successful test flight under its belt and more than 70 launch contracts already on the books, including 38 missions for Amazon's Kuiper satellite network. Then there's all the launch infrastructure, rocket testing and manufacturing facilities that come along with it, plus approximately 2,700 experienced aerospace workers currently employed by ULA, an instant workforce of proven talent. Now, of course, none of the major players involved are saying anything official yet. But 2 anonymous sources speaking to Ars Technica have said they expect the sale to be announced within a month or 2. We also have some market signals that Mr. Bezos is gearing up for a big move. Bezos recently sold $2.4 billion in Amazon stock and disclosed that he could sell an additional $8 to $9 billion in stock over the next 12 months. Although there are no confirmed valuations, there has been speculation in the launch industry that ULA may be sold for somewhere between $2 and $3 billion. So Bezos could be looking at buying the company outright and then putting a massive investment on the table to fully integrate ULA into Blue Origin. This would give Blue Origin not just the Vulcan rocket, but decades of launch experience, proven infrastructure, and immediate access to lucrative government contracts, transforming the company from a promising startup into a space industry powerhouse virtually overnight. The space race is heating up like never before. China is pushing hard for the moon with international collaboration. SpaceX is preparing to accelerate Starship launches. Blue Origin is finally getting New Glenn ready for flight. And Jeff Bezos might be about to make the biggest power play in commercial space history. 2026 is shaping up to be one of the most significant years in space exploration since the Apollo era. The question isn't whether we'll see incredible achievements, it's which company and which nation will pull ahead in this new space race.